welcome to Lockdown and Online Comedy Night, recorded live here from my log cabin in the centre of Birmingham. And indeed, I am your compere this evening. My name's Duncan Logan, and I'm going to be guiding you through three amazing acts this evening. Now, if you're here, if you're a regular watching the show, welcome back. But if you're watching us for the first time, you're more than welcome too. And what we try and do is we try and make it as much like a comedy night as we possibly can. We kind of have our banners here, and we have our few knickknacks behind us. But more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we have our audience. They are indeed our resident audience. They're our resident audience. And some of you have been asking me, will Alex, our lodger, be here this week, has been with us, because he lives in the Isle of Wight and people have been concerned he might be travelling there. I just want to point out that's not the case. That's not the case, unless he's hitched it with Dominic Cummings. He hasn't. Isn't that right, Alex?
Yes.
You see, he's here tonight, and you haven't gone back to the Isle of Wight?
No.
You see, there's the proof for you, there's the proof. And we also, in our audience, we have my daughter Hannah with us.
Do we have to stay? It's the holidays.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. Yes, you do. Here we go. I bought you some chocolate, right? So, it's a sad state of affairs. We've got to bribe your family to come to one of your comedy nights. Here you go, have some chocolate. There you go.
Not
So,
3 pieces, please.
3 pieces, and that's it. 3 pieces, and that's it. Okay, right.
Not 4 pieces.
4 pieces. Okay, 4, no more. 4, no
Not
more.
5 pieces.
No, you can't have 5 pieces, right?
If we laugh at your jokes, can we have 5 pieces?
If you laugh at my jokes, can you have 5 pieces? My word. Yeah, well, you're going to be doing that anyway. But yes, 5 pieces, and that's your lot. 5 pieces, and that's your lot. Okay? Right. So we've got our audience with us here, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the... and they're really excited because we've got 3 amazing acts this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Mr. Dominic Woodward here this evening. Oh, indeed. And we also have got Mr. Paul Carenza, ladies and gentlemen. And as a real treat, who was a finalist in Britain's Got Talent, who came 3rd a few years ago, followed by a sellout UK tour. We have got Mr. Daliso Chaponda here, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? And we do need a bit of a laugh at the time, because we are in, I think it's around about week 10 of lockdown. And I'm a bit disappointed because they're thinking of stopping the clapping for the key workers. We're key workers, aren't we? They're thinking of stopping the clapping because I've been timing my runs on a Thursday night just to end around about 8 o'clock, just as I'm 45 seconds before 8 o'clock. It's like I'm finishing the London Marathon. It's amazing. And it is affecting. It is putting a little bit of pressure on people. I've got a client. I'm a psychotherapist in the NHS, and the client said to me this week, absolute truth. She goes, I says, "How's your husband getting on?" She goes, "I can't stand his face anymore. I can't stand seeing him anymore." And because she said, you know what? He's on furlough. She said he's on furlough, and he said I gave him a list. I gave him a list of jobs to do. Do you know how many he's done? He's done 1 job on the list. 1 job on the list. And I was thinking about this. How many guys on furlough had great plans? The fences they were going to paint. The patios they were going to lay. The rooms that they were going to decorate that are still lying untouched after 10 weeks. But never mind. You know, we want it to end. But come on, get on with your jobs. All right, get on with your jobs. And also, but I do feel a little bit for the people who can't see, because we've got 2 nieces, haven't we? We've got boyfriends, and do you know what's really sad? This because they could see them, but had the social distance. They said we don't want to see them because we want to hug them. Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? I wanted to hug them. Now, what I want to do, girls, as a precaution, I don't want you to go 2 meters. I don't want you to go in. You've got to stay 2 meters away from boys for the next 10 years. Right? For the next 10 years. No, because it's true. Because apparently, if you kiss a boy before you're 25, it's poisonous.
We're not stupid.
No, it's actually. Excuse me. Your mum works at Birmingham's Children's Hospital, and you don't know of how many the kiss-related poisonings she has to deal with on a week-by-week basis. You know what I'm talking about?
Right, Dad.
No, it's true. So stay away from boys. Stay away from boys. That's what I would say. But ladies and gentlemen, you're really on for a treat this evening. So are you ready for your first act?
Yeah!
Good. Alex, are you ready for your first act?
Yeah.
Good. Alex is ready for his first act as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do, as we usually do in time-honoured tradition here at Lockdown London Live, we're going to start on the left-hand side. So if you're on your, remember, if you're sitting on your own and watching this in your house, you can go like that. Okay. If you're on a couch, just the two of you, pass the baton on. If there's four of you, even more exciting. But the more you get into it, and the more you really clap along, the more fun you're going to have. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with you, Jackie. Move to that left-hand side. Big crescendo bring on the first act. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, off you go, Jackie. Give it going. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on stage. Your first act for this evening, Mr. Dominic Woodward.
Good evening, Kingdom Comedy. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you tonight. My name's Dom. I'm a rather long-haired, furry comedian. I'm also a magician, do the odd magic trick. I'll just do one quick trick for you tonight, right off the bat. All I want you to do is, each of you at home, think of a card, any card, but don't change the card once it's in your mind. Have you got a card in your mind? You have? Good. Watch this. Was that your card? Oh, how spooky is that? Now, I do appreciate that that probably wasn't your card. But on average, 150 people watch this. So 3 of you somewhere just went, what on earth? And if that wasn't your card, I want one more guess. Was it that one? So, yeah, I'm going to do some material tonight for you, but let's not do much lockdown material. Let's not do much coronavirus jokes, because that's all over Facebook. Let's go back to a time before coronavirus. Let's go to a time, the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year was interesting for me. I spent January doing drama workshops at high school in a place just outside Manchester called Moss Side, which is really rough. Some of you might have heard of it. The kids are so naughty. It's unbelievable. I tell you what, one of the year 7s was so naughty. We had to send for his mum. I mean, we didn't send far. She was only in year 11. And I did it for nearly a month. And on the last day that I was doing it, there was this one kid, and he was messing around all day. And by about 2:30, I got annoyed with him. And I said, can you stop doing that? And he just looked at me and went, yeah. Yeah? Yes, sir. I'm going to tell my dad. He's going to come in and he's going to bang you. Ooh. I wasn't scared. He don't know who his dad is. So, I do understand though, having kids is hard work. We've got 2 kids. We've got Olivia, who's 5, and we've got Freddie, who's 2. He's called Freddie, but he actually thinks his name is Don't Touch That Plug, because about 15 times a day I say, don't touch that plug, come over here. And he waddles over. That's what he thinks his name is. Expensive though, very expensive having kids. We send Freddie to nursery 2 days a week. Absolute fortune. I said to my wife, I said, with what we spend sending him to nursery, we could buy a brand new Range Rover with leather seats and a private reg plate. She says, how do you know that? I said, the woman who owns the nursery has got one. School run, that's what we've been doing with Olivia. She started school last September, so we were doing the school run since September up till lockdown. And the school run's hilarious near me. I live in a little place just north of Manchester called Ramsbottom. And Ramsbottom, it's got a very diverse socio-economic demographic, big mixture of people. And the school run's hilarious. I mean, half the parents are in off-road vehicles that have never been off-road, and the other half are in gym gear that's never been in the gym. So yeah, we've been married for 7 years. She's a doctor, my wife. That's alright, isn't it? It's alright. Pulled a doctor. Yeah. Never before have 2 professions been so mutually beneficial, because my job means she gets the TV to herself every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and her job means I could get a mortgage. But I've been doing a lot of the cooking because obviously she's working during lockdown. She's a key worker, NHS, but I've been looking after the kids, and cooking for kids is so annoying. said a phrase. I used a phrase the other day that kind of it took me to a new parenting stage. I think parenting it's like a computer game. There's different levels, and you say certain things, and it unlocks the next level. And I said a phrase the other day that any parent who's been a parent since the 1970s must have said this phrase at some time, because cooking drives you mad when it's for the kids because they're so fussy. I mean, I've got a 21st century middle class wife, and I can make them things, and she just looks at it. Is that what you're giving them? Well, yeah, pizza and chips. I made the pizza myself. I made the chips myself. What's wrong with that? She had these 2 forms of carb in the same meal. You've got to give them a balanced diet. So I was like, all right. I thought I'll make them spaghetti bolognese. So obviously you've got spaghetti, and then you've got your bolognese, which is minced beef, grated onions, so she can't see that it's in there, grated carrot, she can see that, mushrooms, tinned tomatoes, tomato puree, splash of milk. How nice does that sound? And I made that for Olivia, and I put it on the table. She came in from the living room just looking at it like, she went, I don't like it. I was like, you haven't tried it yet. She just went, it's... I said, but you haven't tried it. She just stuck her tongue out. I said, just try it. Then she said, and all kids say this, she looked at it, she went, it's got bits in it. I said, that's grated carrot. You love carrot. I don't like it mixed together. I said, all right, well, we'll move the carrot out so the carrot's separate. I don't like the black bits. I said, they're mushrooms. So I don't like them. I don't like the colour. I said, all right, well, we'll move the mushrooms off to the side. There you go. You don't have to eat them. They're still on my plate. I said, all right, well, we'll put them on my plate then. So I can still see them. I said, we'll put them in the damn bin then. She said, you're not allowed to say that word. I said, no, you're not allowed to say that word. I'm allowed to say that word. Why are you shouting? I'm not shouting. But I did spend a lot of time making that, and there you go. Now you've got, that's just minced beef and carrots. They're separate, and you like beef and you like carrots. And it's got sauce on it. I said, sauce is lovely. She went, it's yucky. I didn't say the phrase. I just said, all right, well, we'll get all the bolognese and we'll put it on my plate. I can still see it. But we'll put it in the bin then. There you go. Eat that now. That's just spaghetti. You like spaghetti. It's still got a little bit of sauce on it. And it was then that I said the phrase that every parent says at some time. And you probably know the phrase, you can say it with me if you want. I said, do you know what, Olivia? I said, there are kids starving in Africa. Lights flashed, music played, Bob Geldof popped up, shouting hallelujah. I said, right, do you just want some plain spaghetti? She said, yes. I said, yes, what? You've got to say that. She said, yes, please. So I made her some plain boiled spaghetti, and she sat there eating it. My wife walked in, she looked at it, she went, is that all you're giving her? That's just carbs. Oh, so annoying. But you know, you get on with it, don't you? You get on with it. I've been doing quite a bit of DIY as well. While I've been in lockdown, I bought a load of stuff actually. I can't really do DIY. I must admit, I'm not really very good at DIY. I mess around doing this, and I do drama workshops and silly magic tricks. I can't do DIY. I was going in B&Q a lot before lockdown, and I don't like B&Q at all. It's the only retail establishment I know that both sells and employs tools. It's awful. B&Q, every other shop in Britain has got the same strategy to get you to buy things. They all do it. They've got lots and lots of sales assistants who follow you around the shops going, you alright, you need any help, you alright. It winds me right up. B&Q though, they don't do that. They've gone the opposite way. They really have. They've got one old bloke who knows nothing about DIY. He just wanders around the store going, it's not my section if I'm honest with you. Oh, nightmare. I went in, this was just before lockdown, in February it was. I went in and I was only buying a packet of screws, that's all I wanted. And I got to the screws and the packet was damaged and they put a little sticker on it saying reduced, £1.3. I thought that'll do me that. So I took it to the woman, she scanned it in, she went £1.3. She was a bit like Les Dawson. Do you remember when he used to be dressed as a woman with Roy Barraclough? She looked like £1.3. And I gave her a £20 note, it was all I had. She looked at it like I was trying to pay her with a bit of dog muck on a dock leaf. She sat there, she went, have you got anything less? So I said, I've got nothing, which is less. She said, if you give me that, I'll have to give you 18.97 change. It was used up all the change in my till. I was taken aback by the speed of her maths, if I'm honest with you. So I thought, I'll be nice. I said, I can pay by card if you want. This didn't do me any good. She just sat there. She went, don't do me any favours. At that point, I thought, you can get lost. I put my card in the machine. She said, do you want cash back? I said, oh yeah. I'll have 18.97, please. That'd be great, love. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight. I do hope you've enjoyed my little set, a bit of new material there as well. I've never told that story about the cooking. That's a lockdown story, so I do hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed my magic trick. Stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you at a Kingdom Comedy gig somewhere on the flip side.
Mr. Dominic Woodward, ladies and gentlemen, didn't he do well? Wasn't that great? Thanks so much, Dom. Really appreciate it. Audience, enjoying yourselves?
Yes.
Hey, Alex, I bet you're glad you didn't go back to the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
I bet you're glad you didn't go back to the Isle of Wight.
No.
That's it, yes, good. You see, he is here, Alex is here, he's not in the Isle of Wight. Okay, so again, thank you all for tuning in. Any of you who've joined us since I came on the first time, welcome. Please do subscribe on YouTube if you can, that would be great. And also, as you know, from the few weeks that we've had, comedians aren't working at the moment and we are trying to bless them. So if you could donate to the night, that would be great. You would pay a lot of money to see some of these guys. And we would really appreciate a £5, but as much or as little as you can give, that would be fantastic. It's just so we can bless the comedians. And it's split between the comedians and also a charity as well. So that's absolutely great. So that's brilliant. And we do hope there will be a bit of joy during this lockdown period. We do, because I was talking earlier. That some people haven't got jobs done, right? But there's other people I know that in the first week the house was decorated. The second week, the garden was done, and now they've got absolutely nothing to do. Nothing to do. But you can tell the ones that have had you can tell the ones that have done the decorating when you go on Zoom. You can see the transformation every time you go on Zoom and see them. But I tell you what, I've become a little bit before I got my own house, right? I didn't realise this kind of battle that you have as a homeowner in cats. Right, and cats. Do you remember the other day there was a cat on our lawn? Yeah. And I thought I was the only one, but Jackie was good. I remember when I first ever bought my first house, right, and I bought my first lawnmower. And cats, right, walked around. Now it drives me, I don't know why, it just suddenly twitched, I don't know why. So anyway, first I was mowing my lawn, and I noticed that this cat had pooed right in the middle of my lawn. Pooed right in the middle of and I'm mowing along, and I'm thinking, well, I could pick it up, or I could just mow it up. Like that. I could just mow it up. And so I just went, you know what? It was the word, the stink, right? There was poo everywhere, right? It was in the collection bin, it stunk. And never again am I mowing up a poo. And I mean, this cat, right? We started getting, there was this rivalry because I also remember I was weeding, right? And I don't like weeding, so I wanted to get the weeding done as fast as I possibly could, right? So I was going along the edge of my garden, and then my knee kind of wobbled a bit. Do you know that? Would you know the wobble it could be? And then my knee went into a cat poo. Right? Another knee with cat poo. And they're like dirty bombs. They look so innocent in a way until you break the seal. So cats never mow up a poo. Right? Never mow up a poo. Life lesson that. Okay. You don't look impressed there, Hannah. You don't look impressed. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for our second act this evening. And you are in for a real treat. We're really pleased he's got his own Radio 4 show, and he does his own podcast that you can actually look at, and it'll be great. So you're ready for your next act?
Yeah.
Of course you are. Now, we started on the right-hand side, didn't we, last time? So now we're going to be starting on the left-hand side. So we're going to be starting with you, Hannah. We're going to go all the way across and finish with you, Alex, okay?
Yes.
Good. Yeah, well remembered. Okay, here we go. Right, so we can start with you. Big crescendo, bring on the next act. Okay, you ready? Go. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your next act. It is Paul Carenza.
Thank you very much. Thanks Duncan. Hello Kingdom Comedy. Hello, my name is Paul Carenza. How are we? Great, not all at once, that's not a problem. It's a pleasure to be here with you, attempting some bringing comedy online, which is always going to be tricky. Let's be aware of that. Live audiences are harder to come by nowadays, so I've got this. That wasn't one of the funny bits, but thank you anyway, I really appreciate it. So... No, that's a different one. We'll come back to those. But humour is needed, and comedy, of course, more than ever, because life is either a comedy or it's a tragedy, and it has tragic moments, but I like to think that it is ultimately a comedy, funny thing. We are drawn towards humour. Certain jokes, though, will need to change in these current unusual times. The classic jokes, for example. Knock, knock. Who's there? Oh, nobody, because we've left your delivery on the bin lid and we've done a runner because of social distancing. Why did the chicken cross the road? Once again, social distancing. Chicken wanted to keep away 2 metres apart from the other chickens, although we're not quite sure if it's contagious between chickens, although apparently it's for tigers. Who knew? So maybe the chicken was not wanting to be too close to the tiger, although if it was that close to the tiger, it had more to worry about. Doctor, I feel like a pair of curtains. That's always a good name. Doctor, feel like a pair of curtains. Oh, no, you need to call 111 because they're dealing with those things. Although actually, if you feel like a pair of curtains, you probably need a haberdashers, although they're all closed at the minute, although they will be opening from mid-June. Okay, how about this one? My wife's gone to the West Indies. How did she go? Because flights are mostly grounded, aren't they? Well, yeah, she's had to be grounded for now. Jamaica? No, the government did. Okay. Englishman, Irishman, and a Scotsman don't meet up because they can't leave their homes, let alone their countries. Mad walks into a pub. No, he doesn't. The pubs are closed. So bar jokes, no, they don't currently work either. Waiter, there's a fly in my soup. Oh, no, I'm no longer a waiter because this is no longer a restaurant. It's now a takeaway / shop. So as you can see, jokes are tricky in the current climate. But you know, we're making the best of things. I hope you're doing all right where you are. I mean, you know, I'm a jobbing comedian, so I'm looking for other work at the minute. Although the bank manager, right, I got a letter recently from my bank manager. Dear Mr. Carenza, we notice your payments remain outstanding. So that's nice, isn't it? Good to get some positive feedback now and again. Yes, just like that. Thanks for that. So look, I've got some other things I was going to show you throughout, right? Before the end as well, stick around because in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how to make your very own James Bond film opening using a toilet roll. Very exciting. Have you got one of these still? Hope you've got one sitting around. Did you know, by the way, if you're trying to make these last, if you're one of these people who didn't manage to stockpile a couple of thousand of these early on this year, these, it turns out, breaking news, they're double-sided, so last twice as long. Now, I will admit, right, I have had weird gigs over the years. I've been doing stand-up for about 19, 20 years now. Can anyone guess the smallest audience number I've ever played to? Fewer than 3. Fewer than 2. Fewer than 1. 0 people. Not that dissimilar to this, right? But I genuinely once did a gig on the comedy circuit to 0 people, and the promoter made me go on anyway to 0 people, and if in fairness it made sense, right? He said, we're in this pub now. Remember pubs? They were in the old days. Remember Brexit? Good old Brexit. I miss Brexit. Do you miss Brexit? It seems simpler times. I think there was about an hour between Brexit and this when I was happy. I think just one solid hour, and kind of feel I wasted it. I think I was asleep. The gig, right, okay, no one there. Promoter made me go on. I was in this pub, and it's Arts Centre. It's Arts Centre next to a pub, right? Audience, turns out, they're in the pub, but it shares a wall with the art centre. I'm in the art centre bit. The promoter said to me, I need to go and usher them through. The audience, they're finishing their drinks. They can't bring the drinks in. So he said, you need to go on and start and do literally 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes, of material to nobody, right? Just the moose head on the wall. It was a bit humiliating, but I really wanted the 20 quid. So on I went, and 10 minutes of material just to the moose. Where you're from, Canada, my kind of town, lovely. Awkward. Eventually 3 people came in and we had a show of sorts. The promoter told me I had to plug the disco. If you want to get paid, got to plug the disco afterwards. I said, mate, there are 3 of them. They've kept their coats on, right? It's not going to be a disco here tonight. None of that. Not this evening. And eventually, right, I said goodnight, said stick around for the disco, but the last person left the room as the promoter pressed play on the tape player. And Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody played out to just me and the promoter, and we had a little dance. So that was quite nice. We're married now. No, we're not. No, no, I am married. I got married. Got a couple of lovely kids, and just come back from the bike ride, so I had to say that. But no, I am. It's great if if you're not married. When you right? Any men who were married, right? Did you get much of a say in what happened at the wedding? I'm curious to know, right? Because the one thing I got to plan really was the first dance, right? I was any ballad from the mid-80s. I thought it'd be brilliant, so I chose a ballad from U2 called I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. Not perfect, not ideal for the wedding scenario, right? But if I'm honest, I was always a bit of a geek in life. Can you tell? The glasses, the ginger hair, it's a giveaway, right? I was never the sports jock. So I was a maths geek and I was a film geek. Those are my 2 flavours of geekery, right? So I thought I'd present to you this. Let's have some visual aids as well, right? So this is where maths and films collide, right? My 2 geeky twin loves, right? Maths and film collide. So Malcolm X is a 1993 film. We know that to be true, right? You have to excuse, cool, this has seen better days, isn't it? If we know this, we can also say, then here we go, X equals 1993 film over Malcolm, yeah? So we've divided both sides by Malcolm, right? If you're not up to speed on quadratic equations, I'll talk you through it, don't worry about it, right? So we also know, for example, that X-Men is a 2000 film, right? I'll just back out the way a little bit. There you go. So we also know that X is 2000 film over Men. I needed a bigger room for this. So we've got 2 different X's. We can, of course, then substitute in, right? And if we're going to substitute in, we've got to go to the next level of this. There we go. Boom. Look at that, right? 1993 film over Malcolm equals 2000 film over Men. But the 2 films, they can cancel each other out. Don't sweat it. That's my job, right? And I am. These lights. So that as a fraction gives us that one down there. 1903 over 2000 Men equals Malcolm. And of course, that fraction as a percentage conclusively tells us 99.65% of men are called Malcolm. So I think we've learnt something there, really, haven't we? And that is that some gigs are tough. But anyway, you live and learn. So that's always been nice. I was a bit of like I say, never great at the sports. Trying to get back into it now. Your daily exercise. Well, nowadays it's unlimited, isn't it? Unlimited exercise. Trying a bit of the running, right? I was never a big team sports person anyway, but nowadays more than ever, running, big thing. No contact, 2 meters apart if you're lucky. Got to do the running, right? So I did this thing called Couch to 5K. Sure you're aware of it, and. Turns out there's not as much couch as I was really hoping for. I thought, surely it's in the title. Couch to 5. I thought day 1, complete box set. Come on. Day 2, wind down with a few Breaking Bads and a Sherlock. No, they get you straight in with the running, right? And it's always this kind of patronising voice of someone you're familiar with off the telly, but they've not run a mile in their lives, right? But you like the voice, is reassuring. And they're giving you encouragement at regular intervals, like, come on, well done, you're doing really well, keep going, you're halfway, one more shoe, you can go out the door, that sort of feel. And eventually, staggered out of the pavement. And it's all this like, run for 8 seconds and then recover for 9 minutes. Because you've not done this before, have you? And I thought, no, I've not done this before. And I finished it. Eventually, I did the full 10-week course. Did the 5K, right? And at the end of it, they never say, now keep running, right? They just say, well done. You've finished the course. Congratulations, right? So I've done it. I'm looking for a new app now called 5K Back to Couch Again. That's what I'd really like. It turns out I quite like the couch more than the 5K. I think it's fair to say. I do watch a lot of TV, right? And under lockdown as well, you know, it's so easy. It's there. It's great, isn't it? Good old TV. My wife said recently, turn off the TV, read a book, educate yourself. Do you know any words of Churchill, for example? I said, Churchill? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Right. Now, before we go, I thought a few jokes. Some people like jokes, right? You might like stories, you might like jokes. I don't know, right? So, a couple of quick jokes for you, right? So, do you know what a band leader's favourite 3 roads are? Right, a band leader's favourite 3 roads: A1, A2, A1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Found a return train ticket the other day. That takes me back. So no, you wouldn't like that one. I saw an acupuncturist, right? And at the end of it, it was payback time when she asked me to enter my PIN. So that was quite nice. For my study into the effects of cannabis on Arctic birds, I'm going to leave no turn unstoned. So take of that what you will. I've seen the beautiful shadow of a lorry passing, unfortunately. Didn't drop off any deliveries today. Couldn't get an Ocado shop again. Meanwhile, I wish you well, right? Take care. God bless you. And thank you to Kingdom Comedy. Do donate if you are willing and able, if you still have some sort of regular income. Not everyone does. So if you don't, then enjoy for nothing, I'm sure. But if you would be willing to put your hand in your pocket for our poor artiste, and I believe a charity as well that is doing marvellous things out there at the moment, then feel free. Duncan will tell you how. You know, the messages, they'll be clear. They'll be on screen. There'll be someone after. There'll be someone will tell you a thing, right? If I'm honest, we're not. I don't want to break the illusion. We're not all in the same house together. Me and the other comedians. You know, it's not Big Brother. It's not what's happened here. So take care. And I was going to show you before we go, right, how to make the James Bond film opening using a toilet roll. Now, ideally, have a toilet roll and also a kind of either a red handkerchief or something red and soft. I used a Quality Street wrapper the other day. It was quite nice. Then I ate the Quality Street, bin the wrapper. So that's gone now. So here's what you do, right? Firstly, you put down your microphone if you've got a microphone, right? If you haven't, you don't need to pick one up to put one down. So that's just going to go there. So hopefully you can still hear me as I do the Bond theme music. Find the webcam. And then you've got to do the searching for someone. Searching for Bond. Oh, there's a lamp. There's Bond's eye. There we go. And then when you want to, you just do this, right? You just do the blood bit. Blood. You kind of need Bond as well, and a lot of graphic design and visual flair. In the words of my ex-girlfriend, I'm going to leave you now, but call me. I hope we can still be friends. I've been Paul Carenza. I'm out there on the line if you want to find other stuff I'm up to, because I'll be honest, the gigs have gone a bit quiet. I don't think it's me. I'm not going to take it personally. I wish you well. Take care. God bless you. Goodbye.
Paul Carenza, fantastic. Thank you so much for being part of the night. And it's really great to have him with us, and thanks for supporting us. And for those of you who don't know, we are Kingdom Comedy. We organise comedy nights all over the country, in churches, in pubs, in clubs, absolutely everywhere, and we love doing it. And as we said, we can't do it at the moment, so that's why we're doing it live. That's not the perfect environment, but it's the best we can do at the moment, and we really do hope you enjoy it. And the audience, are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
Of course it is. Alex, are you enjoying it?
Yes.
Oh, good. Alex is enjoying it. Now, are you glad? The question is, are you glad you stayed?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're quite glad. How are you getting on with the chocolate? What's that? What's this? Well, hang on. Oh, what's this? There's none left. There's none. Anyway.
There was 2 pieces missing.
There's 2 pieces missing. Well, it was like that when I bought it from the shop, right? It was like that when I bought it from the shop, okay? Hang on, let me give you that back. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for our final act of the evening. You ready for your final act?
Yeah.
Of course you are. Now, this is one of my little favourite bits, because we're going to do the clapping now. We've started from the left, we've started from the right. Now we're going to start from the middle. So we're going to be starting with you. And what happens is I'm going to use that motion. So if you're sitting with your partner on the couch, you can start from the middle, and then you're both going out like that. If there's 4 of you, you start in the middle, start clapping, pass it out. But if you're on your own, you can do this. Sorry. Right? That's the best clap of all. And you know what? Even if there's 4 of you, you can use that clap if you want. Okay, right, okay, you ready for your final? Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is one of the funniest men I know. And comedians don't historically do brilliantly well on Britain's Got Talent just because of the format, but this guy absolutely nailed it. And he came third a few years ago, followed by a sellout tour. And we are really fortunate to have him perform for us this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, off you go. Off you go, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome your final act for this evening, Mr. Daliso Chaponda!
Hello. This is Daliso Chaponda here at Kingdom Comedy. Welcome to the show, or if I'm at the end of the show, it is almost the end of the show. I have no idea how they're going to edit this together. My name is Daliso Chaponda. If you don't know who I am a Malawian comedian. Yes, I'm from Malawi, the world's #1 supplier of Madonna babies. And I am performing for you from my kitchen. Because as you are, I have been in isolation for 2 months. 2 months, oh my Lord. And I live alone. I am going stir crazy. I have not spoken to a live human being in 2 months. I've not touched another human being in 2 months. I'm starting to think that I'm forgetting how to do it. When finally all restrictions are lifted, I'm going to be like that geeky person in the 3rd grade who's like, hi, how you doing? Hi, nice to talk to you. I'm starting to miss things I never thought I would ever miss. You know, things which I hated. Like I used to hate being on crowded trains. You know, when you're just squashed up about everyone around you, somebody's armpit is in your face. I would love to be nestled in someone's armpit right now. Oh Lord, you miss stuff you never thought you would miss. I miss, people who you would embrace and they have bad BO. Oh my gosh, I miss bad BO. Who thought I would ever miss bad BO? But I am coping. I am surviving. I am doing a comedy show every night, which I broadcast called the CoronaCast Comedy Show. And today, I'm very proud to be part of Kingdom Comedy, which is raising money for a good cause. So, let's get started, right? I think, if nothing else, this COVID-19 crisis has proved that the world is built for couples. I've always felt the world is built for couples, right? It's irritating when you're single. Couples love to rub it in your face, huh? Kissing in public, but also everything is built for couples, huh? Ready meals, the food of the lonely, say perfect for 2, right? Also, the holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. Why don't they have one Lonely Bastards Day where you buy your own box of chocolate? Why does nobody love me? I think they need to introduce Loneliness Day. Now, I come from a big family. Actually, my oldest brother is a doctor. Second oldest is an economist. The third is a computer programmer. Stand-up comic. I would be the shame of the family, but there's always brother number 5. He's in an asylum. Isn't it great? Don't worry, I did not actually have a brother number 5. I made him up for the gag. But I have got to say, when I talk about Madonna, and I always make jokes about how, Madonna adopted Malawian babies. Some people think that I'm criticizing her. They're saying, oh, you think she shouldn't have adopted those babies? You think it was a bad thing? I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it was an amazing thing. Adoption is one of the most amazing things in the world. I don't even know why people hide from kids that they were adopted. Like it's something to be ashamed of. It's the opposite. It's something to be proud of, because if you were adopted, you're one of the only children on the planet who knows 100% your parents actually wanted you. They filled out forms. I've never heard that hangover story, but I'd love to. You know what I mean? That me and the wife got so drunk last night, we ended up at an orphanage. We asked for 2. But when I think of my family, I must speak about my father. My father, very proud of my father. My father worked for the UN, and then he ended up joining the Malawi government. He became Minister of Education. And I wasn't surprised he ended up becoming Minister of Education, because when I was a kid, my grades were never good enough. If I got 5 A's and 2 B's, you'd say, no! You're not reaching your potential. Apply yourself! If I got 7 A's, 1 B, you'd say, no! You're not reaching your potential. Apply yourself. And he was really hard on me. Really always pushing me, trying to get me to become a better version of myself. I understand. And the good thing is now that I'm older, I can call him and I can bond. You know, it's hard to communicate with your father sometimes because of the age difference. I never have those problems. I just call him. I called him the other day and I said, Dad, there are food shortages all over Malawi. People on strike. Apply yourself. I don't think you're reaching your potential. Oh, gosh. But speaking of children, I have no children myself, but I had a friend of mine who visited me, and her son was playing with Legos. Now, when I was a little kid, Lego was a very simple thing. It was something where it was just there, and I would mess around with it, stick it together however I wanted, and let my imagination go wild. This little child asked me to help him with his Lego. I went over to help him, and he pulled out instructions, a manual with instructions of how to turn it into some giant truck. I can't put things together. I can barely put together an IKEA piece of furniture. So I tried my best and I created some monstrosity of Lego. Kid got very angry with me and says, that's not what it's supposed to be look liking. Oh, I don't like it. That's not what I expected. And I said, hey, your mom didn't expect you either. In India, there is a family who named their 2 children COVID and Corona. What an absurd way to name your kids. I wonder if they do this with all the diseases. Whether, their twins are COVID and Corona, but the older brother and sister are Ebola and HIV. It's really absurd, but then again, it probably could have been worse. Because imagine they had named them not after the diseases, but after the symptoms. It would have been like, hey, everybody come to the 2nd birthday of my twins. Vomit and headache. And of the 2, I think we all know that headache got a significantly better deal. Oh. So, I am alone. My only company is that panda you see in the background, who is a very calming presence. I also have got Alexa. I've got all of my AIs. And I watched a speech from Elon Musk, who was talking about the rise of artificial intelligences, things like Siri, things like Alexa. And he was talking about how, as time goes on, these artificial intelligences are going to become more and more human. And he was talking about this like this is a positive thing. And I was like, no! I don't want them to be more human, right? I treat Siri rubbish, right? I treat Alexa like rubbish. I don't want them to become human, start unionizing, right? I don't want them to have temper tantrums. Like I ask Siri, what's the weather like, Siri? And Siri's like, ask Alexa. I'm like, why should I ask Alexa? What's wrong? It's like, well, you've been ignoring me and you've been talking to Alexa all the time. Why don't you ask Alexa? Maybe Alexa knows what it's like outside. And then you ask Alexa, hey, what's the weather outside? Oh, no. Why don't you ask your little friend? Why don't you ask your little friend Bebo? We don't need them to be more like humans. We need them to be less human. Oh, but I do miss Malawi. I mean, Malawi is struggling in this time, but I do miss Malawi. I even consider going, but I'm just waiting it out, seeing what's happening. I grew up in a different culture. It's much more religious in Malawi, much more religious. I mean, there's religion in the UK too, but it's not on the same level. People don't understand. It is much more dramatic. I grew up going to Pentecostal African churches. We have a party up in there. You cannot wait to get to church. You know how kids in the UK have to be forced to go to church. That's not going to happen if you're going to Pentecostal churches where people are clapping, right? People are singing. People are jumping up and down, yelling, hallelujah, amen. This is what I grew up with. The first time I went to a British white Anglican church, I was confused. It was so boring. I was looking around like, somebody stand up. God is busy. You've got to get his attention. And African churches are even better because we have got miracles going down. Oh yeah, somebody can throw crutches in your face. I was once next to a woman who started speaking in tongues. I didn't expect it. She just got I didn't know what it meant. Then I moved to the UK. Now I know it was Welsh. But I am allowed to make jokes about religion because, as I said, I grew up in a very religious country, and I'm going to leave you on a story which will make you understand just how religious it was, right? Just how religious it was, because my teenage years started acting up. Your parents probably would have called a psychiatrist. My dad called an exorcist. I don't know if any of you have ever been exorcised, but I don't recommend it. They strap you to the bed with ropes. They start pouring holy water in your mouth. I was coughing. My dad didn't think this was enough. He believed you spare the rod, you spoil the child. There was a big wooden cross. He grabbed it, passed it to the priest and said, beat him! Beat the devil out of him! The priest began to whack me. I was on the bed like, ah! So understandably, when the priest said, Satan! I figured I better play along. I've watched the Exorcist movie. I can't turn my head around 360 degrees. I gave it a good shot. I was like, I put on my best devil voice. I was like, oh, yes. I am Lucifer. I said, Satan, leave this boy. I said, I'm leaving. Then I got a great idea. I pointed at my dad and I said, I'm going into him. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me as part of Kingdom Comedy. My name is Delisa Chaponda. If you enjoy my comedy, you can go on YouTube. I have a free comedy special called What the African Said, which is free until COVID is over. So you can watch me in front of a crowd, not in a kitchen, for free if you like. And then I also do a daily broadcast called the CoronaCast Comedy Show, which is going to be at 7 p.m. British Standard Time every day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please do donate to this marvelous charity. I have been Delisa Chaponda.
Mr. Delisa Chaponda, ladies and gentlemen. Delisa Chaponda. Fantastic. Well, hasn't it been a great evening?
Yeah.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you to all the acts who performed this evening. And of course, if you've enjoyed it this evening, please do subscribe on YouTube. Please do subscribe so you don't miss any of the forthcoming nights. Please tell all your friends about it, share it. The more views we can get, the better. And of course, you do know that we are you can donate to this evening, and the money is going to be split between the acts and a charity as well. So you can click on the website, which is www.kingdomcomedy.co.uk, and if you click on the charity nights, and then you can donate on that page. So please do. We're asking for a £5, but as much or as little as you can give will be absolutely brilliant. But again, you can also befriend us on Facebook as well, so you kind of know what's kind of going on. But I think we're kind of heading on the home straight now, but it's near the end. It's nearly finished. But in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have another Lockdown Undone Live. And two of the acts already confirmed performing are Jamie Sutherland and the lovely Izzy Sutty. And we have another headline quality act still to confirm. But there's some exciting stuff on the way, I tell you. Okay, so, right, I've just got one more thing left to do, and that's to thank the acts. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Dominic Woodward, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for Mr. Paul Carenza, ladies and gentlemen. And the wonderful and the fantastic Mr. Delisa Chaponda. Have a safe evening. Stay safe. Good night. God bless. My name's Peter.